If you were following Jimin's Instagram back in early April 2026, you might have scrolled right past the moment that changed everything. No caption explaining it, no official statement, just Jimin and several of his BTS bandmates posting cryptic, personal messages on their stories on the exact same day, and ARMY had absolutely no idea what they just witnessed. Today we're going back to that moment, breaking down exactly what Jimin knew before any of us did, and showing you how one quiet Instagram story turned into the most unexpected brand launch of BTS's entire comeback era. Stick around, because by the end of this video you're going to look at every single BTS Instagram post completely differently. Let's set the scene. It's early April 2026. BTS has just dropped their 5th studio album ARIRANG a few weeks earlier. The world tour has just kicked off in Goyang, and ARMY is still riding the high of having all 7 members back together for the first time since they finished military service. Everyone's attention is locked on tour dates, set lists, outfit changes, and fan cams. Nobody is thinking about anything else. And that's exactly when this quiet little Instagram account starts following all 7 BTS members. The account is called ARIH. The handle is at taste_RE. No profile picture that means anything. No posts. Nothing except the follow. And normally, a random new account following BTS wouldn't mean a thing. Except this account followed Jungkook, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, V, and Jimin all within the same window of time, and then all 7 members followed it back. That's when the theory started. Because if there's one thing ARMY has mastered over the years, it's noticing when something doesn't add up. And this didn't add up. Then it happened. Jimin posted a story. Simple, quiet, almost throwaway. It said, "I hope you like what we like." No explanation. No context. Just that sentence, sitting there on his story for 24 hours before it vanished. And if that was the only clue, maybe it would have disappeared into the noise. But it wasn't the only clue. Jin posted a similar sentiment, saying he kept wanting to talk about things he liked, and that he hoped fans would like what they liked too. J-Hope echoed nearly the same, "I hope you like what we like," line that Jimin used. V's story was shorter, just 3 words. "It's finally here." And Jungkook, being Jungkook, hinted that the group wanted to share something a little unexpected, something personal to them, rather than anything too predictable. Now think about that for a second. Multiple members of BTS coordinating their Instagram stories around the same theme, the same day, referencing something we like, and every single caption mentioned one specific date. April 10th. This is where the entire ARMY fandom turned into a detective agency overnight. Twitter, Reddit, Weverse, every platform lit up with the same question. What is dropping on April 10th? And Jimin's involvement here is honestly one of the most interesting pieces of this whole puzzle, because Jimin doesn't do random. If Jimin posts something, even something as simple as one sentence, it's almost never an accident. He's historically one of the more deliberate members when it comes to what he shares publicly. So when Jimin joined in on this coordinated tease, ARMY knew this wasn't just some random ad campaign getting attached to BTS's name. This was something BTS themselves wanted people to notice. So what did the fans do? They went digging. And what they found was honestly kind of wild, because this mystery didn't actually start in April. It started months earlier, in a place almost nobody was looking: Korea's trademark registration database. Buried in public filing records, dated January 22nd, 2026, was a trademark application from a company called Paldo, one of Korea's biggest instant noodle manufacturers. The same company behind Paldo Bibamayan, a brand BTS members have been spotted eating on live streams for literally years. The trademark they filed was for the name ARIH, written in Korean as ARI. Filed under registration number 40202600014944, covering product classifications 13 and 29, the filing wasn't a small, narrow application either. It covered an enormous range of categories, everything from instant noodles to yogurt drinks, from snacks to soups to vegetable chips. This wasn't a single product tie-in. This was the paperwork for an entire brand. And it wasn't just the trademark filing that fans dug up. Around the same time the teasers were circulating, an early version of the ARIH.com website quietly appeared online, and it had one strange, extremely on-brand detail: a code entry field. Just a blank box asking visitors to input a code, with no explanation of what the code even was or where to find it. It didn't do anything when fans tried random guesses, but it was enough to send the fandom into overdrive theorizing about what kind of hidden campaign this was building toward. Was it a date? A lyric? Something buried in one of the ARIRANG album's liner notes? Nobody cracked it before the official reveal, but it added yet another layer to a mystery that already had ARMY completely locked in. So here's the timeline forming in front of us. Late January, Paldo quietly files a massive trademark for something called ARIH. Early April, multiple members of BTS start teasing something on Instagram tied to the same theme, pointing fans toward April 10th. Jimin, specifically, tells fans, "I hope you like what we like." A phrase that in hindsight reads less like a vague tease and more like a direct hint that whatever ARIH turns out to be, it's rooted in something the members genuinely enjoy in their own lives. And that detail matters more than it might seem like at first. Because when ARIH officially launched, that phrase from Jimin ended up lining up with reality in a way nobody expected. On April 24th, 2026, the mystery finally resolved. ARI launched as a real, physical, available in stores brand, developed by Paldo alongside a company called ARIH, formerly known as Korea Yakult. And it turned out to be exactly what the trademark filing hinted at, a full food and beverage line, described as a Western Korean fusion concept built directly around BTS's input. Not just their faces slapped on packaging, actual creative involvement. The members reportedly helped shape the brand concept, the name, the flavor development, and the package design from the ground up. The name itself connects directly back to what fans had been speculating about for weeks. ARI comes from the Korean word ARI, meaning fine or beautiful, combined with the letter H, standing for harmony, happiness, and health. It's designed, according to the brand, to bridge the space between familiar, everyday life and new experiences, blending East and West, tradition and trends, taste and wellness. And now here's where it gets really interesting for anyone who's been paying close attention to Jimin specifically, because once the actual campaign rolled out, his role in it revealed exactly why his April tease hit different. The product lineup breaks into 3 categories. First, modern noodles, stir-fried instant ramen built with what the brand calls liquid soup technology and fettuccine-style noodles designed to soak up sauce like fresh pasta, shortened specifically for fork-based eating instead of the traditional slurp with chopsticks method, clearly built with a global, especially American, audience in mind. Second, postbiotic energy drinks, 0 sugar, 100 milligrams of caffeine, multiple flavors, positioned as a clean energy option. Third, dual biotic sodas, lower sugar, built around prebiotic fiber for gut health, in flavors ranging from clear lemon to peach mango horizon. Now, here's the detail that connects directly back to that mysterious April tease from Jimin. The modern noodle line actually launched with 7 total flavors: K-Super Spicy Seaweed, Black Pepper Tteokbokki, Gochujang Butter, Soy Sauce Butter, Spicy Seaweed, Truffle Bulgogi, and Vongole. And out of that full lineup, at least a few reportedly reflect actual personal favorites from specific members. RM's flavor is Gochujang Butter. V has 2 personal favorites represented: Soy Sauce Butter and Truffle Bulgogi. And Jimin's flavor, the one specifically noted as his personal favorite, is Vongole, the clam-based variety, sitting right alongside the more traditionally Korean flavors like the spicy seaweed and tteokbokki options. There's something almost funny about that placement if you think about it. Vongole is an Italian pasta dish built around clams, garlic, and white wine, about as far from traditional Korean comfort food as you can get on this particular menu. And yet it's the flavor tied to Jimin, in a lineup that's supposed to represent Western Korean fusion. It's a small thing, but it's exactly the kind of detail that makes this whole brand feel less like a corporate licensing deal and more like 7 Real guys actually being asked what they wanted to eat. Think back to what Jimin said in April. "I hope you like what we like." At the time, it read as a vague, almost poetic teaser. But once ARIH actually launched, that sentence turned out to track with something real. At least some of the flavors weren't randomly assigned for marketing purposes. They were built around what these guys actually enjoy eating in real life. Jimin wasn't just teasing a product. He was hinting at his own personal taste, months before any of us knew what we were even looking at. And it doesn't stop at flavors. When ARIH rolled out its promotional content, each member got their own individual video segment representing their version of everyday wellness. Jungkook's segment shows him working out. RM is shown reading. Jin is shown playing video games and reading. Suga is shown in the music studio. J-Hope is shown dancing. V is shown attempting to cook, which fans immediately clowned him for since V is famously known for not being able to cook at all. And Jimin's individual segment? He's simply shown looking off into the sunset. No dramatic action. No forced personality quirk. Just Jimin, quiet, looking toward the horizon. And weirdly, out of every single member's clip, this is the one ARMY keeps bringing back up. Because it fits. It's understated in a way that feels intentional, almost like it was designed to mirror the same quiet, deliberate energy Jimin brought to that original April Instagram tease. Everyone else got an activity. Jimin got a mood. But if you want the chaotic energy, that comes from a completely different piece of the campaign. The Instagram ads where RM, Jimin, and V are shown actually making the food themselves. And ARMY had a field day with these. 2 of the 3 members were, by fan consensus, hilariously bad at it. Social media was flooded with reaction posts, clips being replayed, timestamps being pulled apart frame by frame, all because watching global pop icons fumble through cooking their own branded noodles turned out to be way more entertaining than any polished, professional ad could have been. What made these clips spread so fast wasn't just the comedy of it, it was the contrast. On one hand, you got Jimin's sunset segment, calm, composed, almost cinematic. And on the other hand, you got Jimin in the kitchen, fumbling through the exact same brand's product launch with noticeably less grace. Fans love that duality, the idea that the same person can be presented as this quiet, aesthetic, almost ethereal figure in one piece of content, and then completely human and a little chaotic in the next. It's part of why ARI's marketing worked so well specifically for this fanbase. It didn't try to keep every member polished and camera ready in every single clip. It let them be a little messy, and ARMY ate it up, sometimes literally. So by now you've got the full picture forming. A trademark filed quietly in January, a coordinated multi-member tease in early April, with Jimin dropping the exact phrase that would later define the entire brand's ethos. An official launch on April 24th that confirmed every fan theory. Individual flavors and video segments built around several members' real personalities and real taste. And a chaotic cooking ad that turned into one of the most talked about pieces of BTS content that month, completely unrelated to music. But this story doesn't end at the Walmart launch, because ARIH didn't stay a US-only product for long, and its expansion timeline actually maps almost perfectly onto BTS's own world tour schedule, which honestly makes sense once you realize ARIH became the official sponsor of the ARIRANG World Tour itself. Starting with the North American leg kicking off in Tampa, ARI set up interactive pop-up booths at tour stops, offering product samples, exclusive merchandise, and surprise giveaways to fans attending shows. Every stadium stop essentially became an extension of the brand's marketing, meaning if you were an ARMY who went to a US tour date this year, there's a good chance you walked past an actual ARIH activation without even realizing its origin traced back to a mysterious Instagram story 4 months earlier. The Tampa launch was really just the opening move, though. When the tour rolled through Las Vegas in late May for a run of shows at Allegiant Stadium, ARI scaled its presence up significantly. There was a dedicated ARIH concert booth set up right at the stadium across multiple show dates, running from 10 in the morning to 7 at night, offering photo opportunities, interactive games built around Korean culture, and exclusive branded merchandise you genuinely couldn't get anywhere else. But the brand didn't stop at the stadium gates. For fans staying in town for the full concert week, there were additional pop-ups at the Forum Shops at Caesars Palace, plus an ARIH-branded Airstream trailer parked outside a local Walmart supercenter, and product availability pushed out to select Walmart locations across the city. For one entire week, if you were an ARMY in Las Vegas for those shows, ARI was basically impossible to avoid in the best way. That same pattern repeated a couple of months later when the tour reached the New York area for the MetLife Stadium dates. ARI set up what was branded as an ARIH zone, bringing in tastings of the full product range, the dual biotic sodas, the postbiotic energy drinks, the modern noodles, and even a mocktail bar built around the brand's flavors. Beyond just sampling, The New York activation leaned into interactive product discovery experiences, additional photo ops, exclusive merchandise drops, and giveaways that included a personalized vitality pack for attendees. It's a genuinely smart piece of marketing when you step back and look at it. Every time BTS lands in a new city for the tour, ARI essentially throws its own parallel pop-up event alongside it, turning Tour Week into Brand Week. Then in June 2026, ARI crossed into the Korean market, launching domestically and immediately picking up buzz thanks to the pre-existing connection fans already had with Paldo products through years of BTS livestream content. And then, just this past week, on August 20th, 2026, ARI made its next major leap, launching across 7-Eleven locations nationwide in Japan. From a quiet trademark filing to a US Walmart exclusive to a Korean domestic rollout to now sitting on convenience store shelves across Japan in under 8 months. That is an insanely fast international expansion for a celebrity-backed food brand, and it lines up almost perfectly with each new leg of BTS's world tour hitting a new region. It's also worth pointing out why a retail giant like Walmart would build an entire exclusive partnership around this in the first place. Industry coverage around the initial launch framed it as a deliberate play to reach younger, culturally engaged shoppers, specifically Gen Z and Gen Alpha consumers who are increasingly driving demand for global, especially Asian-inspired, food and beverage products in the US market. Walmart wasn't just doing BTS a favor by stocking their brand. This was a calculated bet that BTS's fanbase and the broader wave of interest in Korean food culture represented real, measurable purchasing power. And judging by how fast ARIH has expanded since that first Walmart exclusive, that bet appears to be paying off. So let's zoom back out for a second, because here's what makes this whole story genuinely fascinating rather than just another celebrity endorsement deal. Most of the time when a massive artist puts their name on a food or beverage brand, it's a licensing deal. Slap the face on the box, collect the check, move on. What ARIH represents is different, and Jimin's involvement is a perfect example of why. He wasn't just a face attached to packaging. His actual personal favorite flavor made it into the final lineup. His actual personality, that quiet, reflective energy, was translated into his individual campaign segment. And months before any of it was public, he was the one who told us, in his own words, exactly what to expect. Something they genuinely like, something personal, something real. And honestly, that's part of why this teaser hit different compared to a typical brand announcement. If Jimin had just posted, excited to announce my new project, nobody would have cared this much. It would have been forgotten within a day. But a quiet, almost poetic phrase, tied to a mystery date, echoed across multiple members, with zero explanation? That's the kind of moment that turns casual scrollers into detectives, and it's exactly the kind of moment that keeps ARMY as one of the most engaged fandoms on the planet. It also says something about how BTS approaches branding at this stage of their career. These are 7 guys who have already broken essentially every record there is to break. They don't need a loud, oversized announcement to get attention. They could post literally anything, and it would trend within minutes. So the fact that they chose to go quiet, cryptic, personal, almost like they were letting fans in on a private joke rather than announcing a product, says a lot about the kind of relationship they're trying to maintain with ARMY even 4 years after coming back from military service. It's not buy our product. It's, here's something we actually like, we think you might like it too. And based on how fast ARIH has expanded across 3 countries in under 8 months, that approach is clearly working. There's also a bigger pattern worth noticing here if you zoom out even further. This entire saga, the quiet Instagram follow, the coordinated stories, the buried trademark filing, the inactive code field on the website, none of it was necessary from a pure business standpoint. Paldo and ARIH could have just announced a straightforward celebrity partnership with a press release and moved straight to shelves. Instead, everyone involved chose to build an actual mystery, one that unfolded slowly enough for fans to genuinely participate in solving it. And Jimin's specific role in that mystery, being the one whose phrasing turned out to be the most literal and the most personally accurate once everything was revealed, is exactly the kind of detail that rewards viewers who go back and rewatch old content with fresh context. Which, frankly, is the entire reason this channel exists. So here's my question for you, and I genuinely want to know, Did you catch this Instagram story back in April? Or is this the first time you're piecing together the full timeline? Because if you were one of the fans in the replies back then trying to crack the code before Paldo's trademark filing even resurfaced, I want to hear about it in the comments below. And if this is the first time you're hearing that Jimin's favorite ARIH flavor is Vongole, drop a comment letting me know if you've tried it yet. If you want more deep dives like this, tracing BTS's smallest, most overlooked moments back to their full context, make sure you're subscribed, because we're covering every single stop of the ARIRANG World Tour as it happens, plus every side project, every brand collaboration, and every hidden detail ARMY might be sleeping on. Hit that like button if this whole trademark to tease to launch timeline blew your mind a little bit, because putting this together took a genuinely deep dive through Instagram archives, Korean trademark filings, and old fan threads to get the full picture straight. One more thing before you go. With ARIH now expanding into Japan and already sponsoring tour stops across North America, it feels safe to say this brand isn't slowing down anytime soon. Which means there's a real chance we see more individual content like Jimin's sunset clip, more flavor reveals, maybe even more of those chaotic cooking ads that ARMY can't stop replaying. So if you don't want to miss the next reveal, now's the time to subscribe and turn on notifications, because if history has taught us anything from this entire ARIH saga, it's that BTS rarely announces anything loudly. Sometimes it's just one quiet sentence on a story, buried between concert photos and behind-the-scenes clips, and only the fans paying the closest attention catch it before everyone else does. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Let me know down in the comments which members' ARI content is your favorite, whether it's Jimin's sunset moment, V's chaotic cooking attempt, or Jungkook's workout clip, and I'll see you in the next one. And before you click away, seriously, take 30 seconds and drop a comment. Tell me if you were one of the ARMY accounts theorizing about that April 10th day back when nobody had answers yet. Tell me if you've actually tracked down the Vongole flavor and tried it for yourself. Tell me which piece of this entire saga surprised you the most, because honestly, putting this timeline together surprised even me, and I go through this stuff for a living. This channel is built around exactly this kind of deep dive, taking the smallest, most overlooked BTS moments and tracing them all the way back to where they actually started. So if that's the kind of content you want more of, subscribing genuinely helps this channel keep doing it. See you in the next video.